Yeah. I think if the players aren't available within a club, then call the game off. I absolutely agree with it. Spot on. Paul's right, but I just think that the games have to go on. That's my big concern. Is when are we going to get them played? Is there going to be a difference in crowds? Do the SPFL get a chance to sit with the First Minister and ask these questions? Do they get? Are they privy to the data that's coming in, so that they can then try and plan their season accordingly? Because if they're not going to get any fans in, yes, 3 weeks. I keep saying this: 3 weeks. We were told 3 weeks 18 months ago, and we were nearly a year. So there's no way they're telling us 3 weeks, and that's it. Because when you've told lies once or you've made something up once, you ain't going to suddenly change your outlook and your direction going forward. It's going to be the exact same. I think this is going to be a lot longer than 3 weeks. If the words that were used in Parliament today are true about the rapid spread and the speed of it and how dangerous it is and how transmissible it is, then this isn't going to be 3 weeks. It's not going to disappear in 3 weeks and everybody's going to be fine in 3 weeks' time.
No, there's no chance that's going to happen. But I can actually come up with a solution.
Okay.
So if you get 60,000 Celtic fans turning up at Parkhead on the second, right? And then just the cheese and wine and get away with it.
Well, the problem being that if fans congregate at a stadium, what can they do outside? You're going to have to move them on or do something. And you're not telling me supporters aren't suddenly now, if the game is played, they're not going to go to their mate's house and they're going to congregate in 8s and 12s and 14s. And people say it's irresponsible, but people are fed up. People are fed up getting led down the garden path. Wear a mask, get a vaccine passport, get another vaccine. Then we'll have to get a booster. And then it's still not enough. So football, not just football, life in general is, we're back to square one almost. Yeah. It feels like we're taking massive strides back. And we're talking about football. We're not missing out life in general. We're talking about football because it's a football show we're talking about. And the impact it has on the SPFL. That's the reason we're talking. We're not forgetting about the other aspects.
No, there is a big picture overhanging all of this, but we're looking at it through the football lens, if you like. At the moment, I'm still trying to get my head around a cheese and wine at Celtic Park on the 2nd of January, but
I think Paul's got a point though. When you think
Boris,
it does seem to be football supporters are the ones who are missing out. In terms of everybody else on Boxing Day will be going shopping. Boxing Day sales. There'll be thousands of people in Glasgow walking around.
But it's not so much the walking around, is it? It's the actual going into Buchanan Galleries or whatever. It's once you're inside. That's
but you can go into Slater's and everybody's touching the clothes and trying things on and all that. People in Edinburgh the same. And then all of a sudden it's a massive arena, 60,000. Why can't you do some sort of a percentage?
Yeah.
I suppose what you're saying then, John, is there a limit to 500 people inside a shopping mall? Is Buchanan Galleries, for example, that's what you've mentioned, is it structured to 500? Is there a limit on 500 people?
They put limits on.
There is no limit.
So it defies your logic.
Absolutely, that's my point.
It defies the logic of
not centres are going to be chock-a-block.
Yeah.
Come this thing,
there'll be queues and everywhere. There'll be queues of people looking to get in. People save up over Christmas for the Boxing Day sales.
Yeah. And potentially the pubs are going to be packed out as well, aren't they? Watching the game that they can't actually get into.
Yeah. Well, what are they limited to? 100?
Don't know.
I think it's 100 inside, isn't it? 100 people possibly inside. I haven't went through it all. It's just there's bits and pieces you pick up. You always pick up the bits that you think impact you, and the football is the first thing that impacted. Listen, I understand the reasons of stretching police and there's trains are off and buses are off. I get all that, but it's the 500 figure that nobody can seem to work out. That it's just plucked from nowhere.
Yeah. And what we've had, Paul, is the best part of 2 years to be planning for this, if you like. We've been through this already. We've had no crowds at all. Then we've had the test crowds back. So surely there's been enough research done over the last 2 years to know what sort of number is safe inside each football ground in Scotland, and it doesn't have to be just this banner figure of 500 for everybody.
You can understand, like, so obviously you've got the concourses and obviously with the refreshment stalls and that below, which is all indoors. But the majority, it's all outdoor. You can easily sort of put, like, say, with Celtic or with Ibrox, you can easily sort of do the distance. Motherwell's, as you said earlier on, clearly stated that they can actually sort of bring all the season ticket holders out, do within a sort of metre. But she's not even given the chance, to consult. She's just brought that in. Yet we're in the middle of a major pandemic. But it's actually, this 3-week thing is not going to work. So if it does, fine, they get sort of the numbers and that down. Well, fair play. So yeah, then maybe bring it forward. But what I don't think would allow is obviously the likes of Sky and so on and so forth to actually do that.
I think a lot of the concern is about the travelling to and from the games, isn't it? That, you know, the bit inside the ground is almost secondary to pre and post match, and the prospect of lots of people gathering on public transport, in toilets, you know, in wherever. On the way to the game and coming out of the game, and the cost of the policing and the ambulance service. Yeah.
That's I get all that, but surely, you know, they can do more than 500 on a Wednesday night. I mean, if the Celtic St Mirren game was due to be at Celtic Park tomorrow night, and you had 60,000 there, for example, you then couldn't tell me on Sunday you can only do 500. You know, it's only 4 days apart. So you know the fall off. That was my point earlier. You either start it now, or you don't. You know, you can't decide on a Wednesday, well, we'll keep it going, and then on Sunday we're going to change it all. Yeah. You know, again, if there's scientific reasons for doing that or data, let us see it. But they're not letting us see it because there is none. They've just picked the date, picked the number, and said that's what we'll go with. That's what it seems like.
Would you be for that, Paul? Would you be for let's do this right now? Let's not hang about. Let's not wait till the 2nd, 3rd of January. Let's just implement these changes now.
Aye, because I mean, the risks are with every single squad in Scotland. Right, when it's obviously they're all training together, they're all getting dressed, they're all changing them, so on and so forth. That risk is there, so let's do it now. I'm not running scared of playing them. No danger am I running scared of playing them, right? But let's do it now. Let's shut it down and see how it goes. Because this is not going to go, we'll see what it's like for 3 weeks. That's not going to harm. Never in a month of Sundays.
No. So you'd be backing...
We're sort of doing it now.
Yeah, so you'd be backing, Paul, what Celtic have said right at the top of the show, that they want the SPFL to bring the winter break forward and just get it done.
Absolutely, aye. Because, I mean, St Mirren is the biggest example. Last weekend, the English Premiership is another major example.
Because there's a fixture. I mean, we were going to be talking about, when we get round to it, we're going to be talking about tomorrow night's games, Craigs, but already one's going to go. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The SPFL are going to have to bow to scientific and medical advice and the proof that St Mirren have that they can't actually field a team, neither tomorrow nor Boxing Day. And
that then may just further enhance their decision, Rob, to say, well, let's bring it forward. You know, if there's a game called off tomorrow night and already a game called off on Boxing Day, the SPFL are going to think, well, just in case something else comes, why not go early with it? Why not get it off as soon as possible, and then we can try and recover? But, you know, we've said it. You know, if there is a guarantee that in 3 weeks' time, if we bring it forward a week, then we'll be allowed full houses again, then do it. But if there's no guarantee or they can't give anything, then what's the point?
Well, when would you? What date?
In 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Paul. What date then are we looking at restarting?
Well,
if this is going to get worse, and it's going to spread
exactly.
more.
Yeah, so, but I mean, it's moving at such a rate that maybe, you know, with a bit of luck, maybe this is going to blow itself out because it's expanding and spreading at such a rate. Maybe eventually we just build up a resistance to it, and we do see some sort of resolution to this, and we can get going again in a full and unadulterated way with big crowds inside football grounds again.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't imagine that will be 3 weeks' time.
No.
I just can't imagine that it's going to be 3 weeks. So if the SPFL feel that isn't going to happen in 3 weeks, then why bring it forward? Why not just play the games on through? Let it go and then have a winter break, and then, you know, we'll be another further week down the line after that. So who knows which way it's going to go, you know, until the SPFL and the government can speak and can give a clear understanding. And I'm sure that's what the SPFL will be trying to do. They'll be trying to speak to the clubs and give the information what they have. Is it enough to convince everyone that it is right to stop? Who knows?
I mean, we don't have a clue in a negative way. This could go on and on and on. But we don't also...
History tells us it will.
Yeah, but we also haven't got a clue potentially in a positive way. In that, you know, this does blow itself out because it's expanding at just a ridiculous rate of knots at the moment, and clubs potentially can get these big games played with a big crowd and not lose a lot of money, John Hartson, because think about how much is going to be lost at in that Old Firm game, and for all the teams, there's loads of derby football, Edinburgh, Dundee derbies going on. That's a lot of lost money down the drain.
It is an awful lost money, but also there's fans that have booked travel. There's ambulance service. There's police that have got their schedules booked in their diaries, what games they've got coming up. These don't happen just overnight. Everything is booked prior and organised. So it's going to affect a lot of people, and a lot of the smaller clubs as well are going to be affected because they want to get games.
Tell Alexa to launch Go Radio or listen on the Go Radio app.